Good morning everybody and a very warm welcome to Mildenhall and Vollmer, and today I have a mega update for you. Now, last few updates I've been putting up, I have been saying that it's been getting bigger and bigger, but today is definitely the biggest of the lot, and I think you'll appreciate that very quickly indeed. Firstly, I needed to say a few thank yous to people. Purely because I was in my local model shop the other day, and once again I was talking to Paul at the model shop, and he said to me, "Susanna, I've got something for you." And I'm like, "Eh? What?" And I've received an envelope, and the envelope contained well, let me just say who it's from first of all, just to make sure. So I got this letter with the envelope, and it's from a YouTuber called David Bell, and he's from Scotland, and he kindly sent me a DVD to watch, which he felt was of interest to me. And he also provided a list of places that I might be interested in visiting, and he also complimented me and said, "Oh, thank you so much for your good work." And he's one of my watchers, and he's really enjoying the channel. And he just basically said, I won't read you all of it, but the last bit, he just says, "Fergie, I've become one of your biggest watchers of your channel. Keep up the good work, and what an inspiration you send out." So that's really lovely, and I'm glad that I do that to people, because that's what I'm all about in that sense. I just do my own thing, and hopefully somebody will learn from me as I learn from others. So thank you so much for David Bell for thinking of me and taking the time to send me that DVD. I did watch it. It's a very lengthy DVD, and it was a really good watch, and it is railway based. And like I said, he's put on a number of other bits and pieces in here that he felt would be of interest to me. So thank you for that, David Bell. So whilst I was in the model shop, I was eyeing up some wagons that I was particularly thinking of getting. I wanted to get some more wagons. And the ones I did see that he had 3 of a particular wagon which I was interested, but it turns out that those were the only 3 he had, and these were some railroad Yeoman box wagons. But obviously they proved popular and many people have bought them, so I had a quick check on the various websites and various places to see whether anyone else had them, and it was all out of stock. So I thought, well, I'm not going to buy 3 because I wanted to really get a rake going together. So I did have some, and it turned out to be a bit of a godsend really, because I've got a couple of TTA wagons knocking about, which I'm not sure if I've got under here or not. No, I haven't. But basically they're little mini tank wagons. So I asked him about getting some more, and it turns out that he told me that he had some Bachmann TTA wagons which were really cheap, and they were brand new, nothing wrong with them. It was just purely because they were older stock, they're not in the catalogue anymore, and so he had these wagons brand new, just cheaper than the normal ones. So I ended up with a selection of them, and I'm going to go back and get some more. So I've got these. So there's 3 of these 37577A TTA wagons, and they are these ones which are basically BP Shell wagons. Now I'd already had 2 TTA green ones, BP ones. And basically I got 3 of these, and they were absolutely ridiculous price. They were actually cheaper than the railway versions, and they are better wagons. So I've got 3 of those, if you can see those. They haven't been put on the layout because, well, you'll see why. And then I got a couple of the slightly more expensive ones, but again, they were still pretty cheap. So I'm going to probably buy some more. And these are the Amoco ones. And these are 37585s. I wanted to get get a tanker rake going because I've got a couple already, but that's all I have. And I bought my Class 60 recently, my DB Schenker one. So I thought it'd be appropriate for them to pull some TTA wagons around the layout. So that was that. So whilst I was there, I bought these wagons and I got this inadvertent DVD from David Bell. So thank you once again, David Bell, for that. And I haven't run these wagons yet, so they'll be on the layout at some point soon. Also, in the build up to me going back to work, I've been trying to get quite a lot done because I know once I go back to work, I won't have as much time to do things. And one of the last things I've been doing on the layout, I actually posted up on Facebook yesterday. For those of you who might have seen it. Now, a little while ago, I did show you, and I did put it on a video, that I went to visit Gary over at Cheeky Tech, and we're really good friends, and he comes over here quite regularly, and I go over there, and one of his bits that he gave me was this Eddie Stobart Arctic lorry. Now, it's a curtain sider lorry, and it doesn't really fit with the container side of the layout. And I really wanted to use this lorry, but I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do it. So I decided to make a building especially for this Arctic, and I might end up getting another curtain sider now because I've got 2 bays. So what happened is I've got, I think pretty much the whole layout is decided for. There's literally, it's now one corner that I'm still sort of toying with what I'm going to put in that corner, but it was originally 2 corners. But I worked out that I wanted to do something with this Arctic lorry. So I decided I wanted to build a building for it, and so what happened is last week I did a live stream and some people joined in and all the rest of it, and I basically was doing the sides, which I'll show you as part of the update shortly, doing the sides of the platforms using scale scenes paper, and this is scale scenes paper. And the sheet is called Dark Brown Brick, and the code is TX24, and it's from Scale Scenes website themselves. Excuse me. I'd originally bought this and downloaded this for Behringer many years ago, and it was sitting on my desktop. And I decided that I wanted to use this again for the sides of the platforms, which I'll show you. But it turns out that when I went to the printers, I'd ordered too many, and I'd ordered more sheets than I actually needed. So it turns out that I had enough that I thought I could make a building to go with this Arctic lorry. And I had the card additionally because I also been building some other bits and pieces using the card, and I had the card left over. So I decided that between the card, the matchsticks and the scale scenes paper that I'd build a building. So this is it, and this slots in neatly into the corner of the layout, which I will put on there when I bring the layout out. And basically you can see it's got 2 loading bays at the front. The signage has just come from Scale Scenes themselves, because they did some time ago a free download kit or something that I built, and I had some spare signage left over, and I kept all of that, and I felt that this signage here was appropriate for this building. the windows themselves were from the Hornby canopies. I had some Hornby canopies. I think they were broken or they were given to me as I can't remember how I got hold of them, but they were basically loose. There wasn't any canopies. It was just literally the framing for it, the windows for it, or the glazing, I should say. So I decided that I thought that would give it a nice industrial look on the building. So luckily I had enough to actually cover the 2 on the front and then the 6 here to make it a nice even surface. Now if anyone asks about where the doors are or whatever, you could say exactly either on the next section or on the end or whatever, or at the back. I didn't actually put any doors on this one, but you can use your imagination as how they get in, you know. So and it's a low relief, so this will just basically sit up against the back seam, and that's how it'll work. The top is done with my usual kind of matchsticks and poster paint, and that kind of finishes and tidies up that building nicely. So thank you, Gary, for that piece of inspiration. Like I said, I wanted to use his Arctic. I've actually got quite a few Arctic lorries at the moment on my layout, and Dave's Trains a few days ago, put up a video, and he mentioned me saying that how much I like my lorries, and I do actually. It's really appropriate for the layout that I'm doing, and it works out really lovely. And I think that's an Atlas. I'm not sure if it's an Atlas or an Oxford, but either way, they're both really, good quality lorries, and they really look really nice on the layout. So now let's turn you round and get you to look at the layout as an overview. So here is the new look Mildenhall and Vollmer. And before I tell you to go through it individually, I'll just give you a slow pan round on what it's like, or what it looks like at the moment. Trying to do this nice and slowly for you so it doesn't. So there you go. So that is the kind of new look kind of Mildenhall and Vollmer. Now obviously there's some big obvious changes to the layout, and the biggest thing you could probably see is that there's a back seam now on the layout. Now the back seam is quite high. It was originally 2 foot, but that was too high, so I've cut it down, and it's now down to 20 inches. But that's actually from the from the bottom here. If I can see my finger, from the bottom here all the way up to the top, there's 20 inches. So what you can actually see on the layout is actually about 17-18 inches. So the back seam is basically come from Ringwood South. As I did say previously, I did want to bring and incorporate some of the stuff that I've been learning through my other layouts onto this layout. And the back seam was something I learnt from Ringwood South and from Andy Peters. And if you go and watch his channel, brilliant channel. And he did do a kind of a bit of a class on how to do back seams and stuff like that. But he mainly does a bit of modern O gauge and mainly 00 modern image layout as well. He's got 2. Now this is basically the back seams are essentially just white hardboard, and they've been lightly sprayed with blue Wilko's paint, spray paint, and just lightly sprayed over to create a sky effect and a cloud effect. So by not doing it properly, it kind of looks like you've got the white coming through. So you're inadvertently almost creating clouds like that. And it's a very quick and easy technique to do and to use, because although the ID back scenes are fantastic and they're brilliant, and so are many others, if you get them wrong, it can look can look pretty awful, to be honest, if it starts bubbling up or if it starts creasing and stuff like that. So I kind of learnt that also especially from Behringer, that it kind of got, my layout got extended, and then none of the back scenes matched. And also, because of the height, a lot of back scenes only go up to, I think it's 15 inches, and this is taller than all of the back scenes that are currently available. So I've decided just to go and give it a relatively plain back scene, and then I can work on the back scene as I start doing things in the foreground, as it were. The back scenes are all quick release, except the two end ones. The two end ones are fixed, but all the back ones can be removed. And there's a little black bar on the top, and that basically joins the two pieces together and keeps them straight. And there's another one on the end there, and also again that kind of keeps them straight up the top, and they're also quick release on the back. I've also done an additional back scene, which is you can probably just about notice, but you might not if I do it like that, is that there's another bit here, this additional bit, and that's a curved bit there. Now this curved bit is an additional bit that I've added to try and disguise the entrance and exit to the fill yard, or what will be the fill yard. So if I just sort of show you around here, you can see that the DMU's just parked up. So that just kind of comes around the back there. So I just obviously wanted to hide those points. So I've just added this extra bit here, and that will kind of hide away the points. So basically the locos and the trains will just go around the back and behind the back scene that's in the foreground. Something else I've been doing is, if I just zoom you in, I've been doing a lot of fencing. I haven't finished it all, but I'm doing a lot of fencing. So all that fencing's been extended over that side, because it was only originally just that one piece here. I've also extended the back scene, the fencing all the way along and all the way around, and as you can see, it finishes right at the very back where the bus is, which is just about there. You can see it. So it wraps around all the way around. So that's something else that I've been doing. And then the majority of the work has been at the station. And as you can see, there's lighting at the station. There's lighting in the station building, and there's also some canopies with lighting on them as well. But I will take you a bit closer in for that, for a further look. So as you can see, you join me at the back of the layout, and like I said, this is on wheels, and so I just push it forward. So before I show you the work on the station, I just thought I'd show you just kind of how the back scenes work. I have done this before at Ringwood South, but I thought I'd show you. You've got these bump stops here, which prevents it from getting damaged when it gets to the wall. Also, we have these L-shaped plastic pieces, and that kind of, they act as sliders. So when you just lift it off. So if I just show you, I've got that one there, and I've got that one there. Right, so first of all, you need to take off the slider, and you just lift that off like that. And that releases, as you can see, there's a bit of movement there. If you just release that one as well, and then the back scene comes off and lifts off. Like that. And that allows me access to the layout, or the back of the layout. So I don't have to unscrew it or do anything to it, it's just literally here. So That now shows you how I gain access to the back of the layout. So you just basically lift off the back seam and it's all done. And the top is just held in place with these sliders. So as you can see, this is my little corner filler that I made. One thing I didn't take into account actually is a slight overhang on the edge of the building, but that's not a problem because it's just resting on top of the matchsticks. So what I'll do is I'll just take that matchstick out and sit it down, but you can kind of see how that works. And what I'll do is I'll do a quick shot of it from the other side. So that's it from the other side, the viewing angle of the layout. You can see how it goes right into the corner. So there's going to be some fencing that runs along there beside the industrial building there. And as you can also see from this side, that I've also marked out the road that goes across the railway. So that's something else I've been doing. I haven't done that yet, I haven't filled that in. So that's something else I've done. But that shows you how the building's going to sit right in that corner. I just need to move that matchstick slightly, which isn't a big deal. So the majority of my time, really over this last week or so, has been on the station itself. On platform 4, which is the one that still needs a lot of work on, the only thing I really did is I did paint the edging of the matchsticks, but something else I've done is I've also used the scale scenes platform edgings to do all the edges. Now I'm going to switch the light on actually, see if we get a better view. I don't know if it comes out any better, I don't think so, it's still just as dark, but I just think this is such an elegant look and I think it makes it look so much more finished. And then I've done the canopy on this side and also the lighting. Also the station is Southwest Trains, so I've been doing it in their colour scheme, so I've been painting up all these poles individually. It's taken a little bit of time, as you can appreciate, to get it all done. So all of them have all been done all the way along down to the bottom edge, and you've probably noticed that there isn't a single building on platform 2 and 3, and I've sort of deliberately done that. I was going to put some buildings on there, but as the Hornby platforms are quite narrow, I didn't really want to fancy building some buildings for it because it just makes it so tight. So what I've done is I've cleverly did the wiring in such a way that the wiring goes through the kiosk here, and it goes down through the kiosk, and then it joins up underneath the baseboard with all the rest of the wiring. So the kiosk just basically sits there and by the subway, and somebody'd asked me whether or not I was going to put a footbridge. I'm not going to do footbridges. I've just decided I'm not going to bother with a footbridge. So now platform 2 and 3 is lit and finished. Well, not finished because the thing that it's missing now, as you can see, is it's devoid of people. And it also needs all the signage put up. That's something else I need to do, is all the signage for it. All the way along. Now platform 1, which is the far side, is the one that still needs a lot of work because that one hasn't got any of the edging that I've done here. The edging is part of the wheels kit and it comes in a pack of 4, and I think it's corrugated iron or something. I think it was Cardiff Canton I saw that used to have, back in the day, used to have this kind of edging. It's where I kind of got it from. So I need to replicate that over at the far side there on platform 1, which hasn't been done yet. And if I take off, what I'll do is I'm going to raise you up, and then I'm going to take off the canopy because that's not actually glued down on platform 1, and then you'll be able to see the lighting bar on it. So if I just remove it, like so, I'll just put that on there, like so. You can now see the lighting bar that runs across all the way along, and that's what lights up the whole canopy. Basically, these are actually, Dave from Dave's Trains, also on this video a few days ago, had touched upon it. These are my Poundland lighting that I got for Christmas when I did Behringer. I think they still do them. I'm not sure if they do. They do them in the kind of the battery packs. And what I did is I got a piece of moulding from Wicks's on this occasion. It could just as easily be home based or B&Q or wherever you choose to shop, and basically drilled some holes and basically stretched out the wiring so they wouldn't be loose on the sides and wouldn't be hanging down. So I tried to keep them as taut as possible, and that's how I've done that. I've also added some lighting into the buildings themselves. There's actually a little light on the top there of that building. Also what I did is I put the wiring across from the bar through the building. So that's how that's all connected up together. And then that keeps it underneath the shelter and away from the platforms, and instead of me dragging it down and onto the platform itself so you can see it, it's just not unsightly. So I decided to do it in that kind of method. So all of this has taken so much time because obviously I needed to just work out how I was going to do it all, and also I had to test out all the lights that I had and brought over from from Behringer and see what actually still worked, and amazingly they all still worked. Whether or not, if you choose to go down this road, whether you can actually get these fairy lights from Poundland, I don't know. Now it's a good time of year because we are leading up to Christmas, so if it's something you are doing and thinking about, then you could probably try and see if you've got some down there. The moulding's readily available and the tubing is also readily available as well, but as you can see, again, it's all been painted up in the South West Trains colours, the poles and everything, the buildings, but it just needs all the signage now and the people to finish it all off. And this is taking a huge amount of time. And the canopies are just like, they're in two pieces. Well, it's in one piece, but it's two pieces of card overlapped. And as you can see on this one here, you've got the supports here which stop the back of the canopy from dropping down. And I just simply just do that and that. And now it's back on there. So that's how it is for the moment on that. And I'll just need to go in a bit more to make sure, minimise the light bleed. And there you go. So let's just have another little quick sort of look. So that's why my new wagons haven't been out, because I haven't really been running any trains. The only trains I've been running are the trains that's actually just sitting on the layout as it is. So I was just testing out like the containers, because obviously just to test out the clearances. One thing to note is that this middle platform here, this middle canopy is actually slightly wider than it needed to be. Because when I measured it out to the width of the Hornby canopy to make it exactly the same width. What I didn't take into consideration was when I did the ends and they folded over, they added another 2 or 3 millimeters. And that made it wider than the canopy, than the platform itself. So I had to readjust the track work slightly to make sure that the clearances are fine. Either that or raise it. So it's quite difficult to try and get it all lined up. But I think we got there now, so it all seems to be okay now. So that's what we have on this side. So this concludes today's video, and I hope you've enjoyed it. As you can appreciate, a lot of work's gone into it. A lot of it's time consuming, it's not necessarily difficult. Like I said, one of the big jobs I wanted to try and do is get the back scene sort of done. I wanted to do one of the bigger jobs before I went back to work, if I could. I wanted to do the full yard, but it's a bit too much for me, to be truthful. So the back scenes were a little bit easier to do and manageable to do. So I've managed to get them done. So that's one big job done. So we're getting there, and like I said, I apologise there wasn't much of a running session. Those of you who know me kind of know that I kind of like to get layout sort of to a point where I feel comfortable doing a running session. And we're getting there. We're not too far off now. A lot of it's just ballasting now and stuff like that, and doing some more signage, both on the station itself and on the railway itself, as in speed signage. A quick note before we go. I haven't got round. A few people had asked me about my Prodigy Express and what's going on with that. The truth be told is I haven't actually got round to sorting that out yet. I did have a brief chat with them, but I haven't actually dealt with it yet, because I was hoping to go down to Gauge Master itself, but it was a bit too much for me. So I haven't really been out much, so I really wanted to go there and take it there personally and have a look round and kind of make a day of it. So I'll get round to sorting that out at some point. And also I needed to make some decisions based on what they might say. And if they say they can't repair it, it's then having the money to maybe get a new system or what, I'm not really too sure, or whether I'll keep hold of this Hornby system, I'm not too sure. So that's really kind of where we're at with that. So until the next time, thanks for watching, and it's goodbye from Mildenhall and Vollmer. So bye.